Alright, let's try this out. I might have figured a workaround. I think if I shoot as video and then upload the video onto Instagram, and then that video will transfer to the Facebook, though they won't show up as in stories, but they'll be in the timeline, I guess. So I don't know. Let's see if this works. So, you know, here we are. Big giant creepy monster head. Maybe you can see an eye. There's a, you know, nose cavity where, you know, I guess implying there's a skull of this thing somehow melting away. There's an eye there. You can see maybe I started fucking around with a mouth. Maybe there's some teeth. You know, I don't know. It's big. It's at least 12 inches. So, what, some 20 centimeters or so, give or take. You know, these are all just, you know, the sort of farting around questions and fiddling about. What would happen? What's the biggest thing you can make in wax that's the easiest, you know? And then it just sits there and just kind of sits on your shelf, you know? This is where your mind's at, you know? All these ideas and all these sort of questions and answers, and maybe you do it, you know? Maybe you don't. Maybe the eye just sort of sits on the shelf, and then there's just this pressure of time, the heat of time bearing down on you like a sun on a blistering Tucson day. You know, in the summer when you gotta go get the mail, and you know, you're not wearing any shoes, and you just gotta find all the little shady spots to hip hop, you know, hopscotch around to avoid burning the shit out of your feet, you know? I mean, I guess we're all just trying to kind of find some shade to jump from one spot to another, but, you know, I guess it isn't really the shade that molds you or shapes you, you know? It's this intense heat and pressure and environment and, you know, these beating down forces, and all of these beating down forces will have a, you know, they'll have an effect on your, at least your surface layer, that's for sure. As you can maybe see or not see, I'm not sure how well the demonstration I'm doing here, the heat gun's pretty loud, you know. But this is for dramatic purposes, so hopefully the volume picks it up. So here you are, just a, you know, conscious head sitting in a cooking pot. The heat's on, well, it's not on high, it's on low, but still, it's enough. The heat's going around, growing around, swirling around, you know. At some point, you just sort of hold the heat in one spot long enough, and it's going to start to, I can already see some drips forming. I can see some texture riddling away. See the sweat beating up from the wax. You know, maybe that's you. Maybe your head is sweating up, beating up. Maybe you got the long drips dripping down your face. You know, you're feeling the forces. You know, physics working. It's a direct, when this touches that happens kind of thing, you know. Maybe that's working for you. I don't know. Let's see how it's working for this dude. Maybe this dude in here is going to become cooler and drippier and look even gnarlier under all these pressures. And that's probably where I kind of stopped the project, because I, you know, made this big giant piece, and it was kind of gnarly looking. It was kind of cool looking, you know, but I was like, nah, what's your purpose? Where do you go? What do you fit onto? You know, what kind of investment am I looking at? You know, when you start making figures at this size, you know, your costs are really high. So you're like, am I going to get a return on investment? Or am I just throwing money throwing money into the air and hoping it sticks, which tends to be my modus operandi. Which is fine when you're doing little piddly dinky stuff, but once you start going big, you know, that's where the big boys are. So, needless to say, you know, it just kind of sat on the shelf, and I thought, man, you could be gnarlier, you could be grosser, you could be more vivid and impactful, and, you know, maybe you could be a thing that people are like, oh shit, that thing is so cool, I can't believe you made that, whoa, fuck, yeah dude, I'm gonna buy that. Which happens sometimes, you know. You know, you always swing for the fences, and sometimes you get a ground ball, sometimes you hit foul, sometimes the guy beans you in the head. Sometimes you're Randy Johnson and you hit a fucking bird. You know what I mean? How's that for a life lesson? You could just be at your day job, you know, throwing lightning, and bam, you hit a bird, you know? That could happen to you. But more often than not, you know, you're the guy that's just happy to get up on base and swing and see what you get. So, let's see. We're 6 minutes in. 6 minutes in of some heat, some time. What is it? Does it look gnarlier? Do I look creepier? Do you love me? Do you love me, Daddy? You see, we lost an eye there. Yeah, maybe that happens to you. Maybe over time, one eye just gets cooked and melted. You know, the drips get drippier, the drool gets droolier, and as we just sort of tumble through the vestiges of time, we kind of get softer and meltier all around the edges. I don't know, let's see. I mean, he's looking kind of cool, you know. I'm kind of feeling it, so I don't know. I'm gonna maybe sit here and melt this guy coming into the new year and see what sort of thing he becomes. So stay tuned. Hopefully this video works on both Instagram and Facebook, but I don't know. Let's see what happens. Wish me luck. All right, let's see.